Hello and welcome everybody to Game 2 of DieStar vs. Ktože from the Go4SC2 tournament. This is going to be a best of 5 and I have already spoiled it for you, so this is going to be a complete shutout by DieStar. DieStar is going to win this game and then he's going to win the next game also, and it'll be a 3-0 victory. Spawning here in the 3 o'clock position as the purple Terran, playing from Team Millennium, we have our hero of the day, DieStar. His opponent spawning in the 12 o'clock position as the green Terran is Ktože. Now, let's talk a little bit about Game 1 and what I really like about DieStar's play in Game 1. Super clean, super simple to carry out, super easy, and I love that. Open with a 1-1-1, get a factory, use that factory to produce one Hellion to get a little bit of scouting information, then use that factory to make add-ons for your starport and your barracks. Get one Banshee, send that at your opponent, and while you're applying pressure to your opponent with that Banshee, you throw down another command center and another barracks. And then you're pretty much set up right there for Marine Tank Medevac. You're pretty much set up for that standard TvT, and then you may go into that mid-game with 2 bases, and you have that basic structure of a couple of barracks, one factory, and one starport there to start producing those tanks, start producing those Marines, and start producing those medevacs. So super clean, super simple. Gonna have to see what DieStar is going to be doing here in Game 2. See if he's going to be going for that same build. So far, it looks like we have a very similar opening up with that barracks, followed by that refinery. So that to me suggests that most likely we are going to be going for that factory. Once again, it's possible that he could be going for a Reaper, but we will have to see. On Metalopolis, it is a little bit more viable to go for that opening with the Reaper, just because there is a lot more ground that you can hop up on. There's ground all over the place where you can kind of hop up and get around, and this is kind of a nice little area too, because it's got this little forward ledge where you can kind of hop up, deal some damage, and then just hop out and pop away before they can get down this ramp and get over here to attack you. So it's not too bad for a Reaper. You need to be very careful, because sometimes you will, if you do get that Reaper up there and they bring their units somewhere down here, well, you're pretty much trapped in and you lose that Reaper. So we do see the command center now being morphed into that orbital command. Going to be seeing a factory here coming down pretty shortly. I am almost positive, as he's going to be saving up those resources, not getting on any add-ons yet on his barracks. In the base of Ktože, we see a similar opening, except he did opt to go for that tech lab on that barracks. So it looks like it is going to be a Reaper opening here from Ktože. So going to have to see if DieStar is going to take some serious damage there from that. But oh, looks like the first Marine is now out from DieStar. Going to be able to pick off one SCV in the middle of the map. Even going to be able to pick off maybe a Marine here if Ktože is not careful. And ooh, DieStar actually taking one extra shot that he really didn't need to take there, but Ktože now going to be producing his first Reaper. No second gas on the way yet. Second gas is being taken, however, for DieStar, and there we go, the factory now being started here by DieStar. So will we be seeing that same exact opening from DieStar this game? Looks like he is keeping a little bit of control over these XelNaga watchtowers by sending out his first Marine over to watch this XelNaga watchtower and keep control of that. But it looks like he is now going to be pulling back and giving that up to DieStar. Love this Marine placement here by DieStar, placing it up on this ledge here. Gonna be sure that no Reapers are coming up his way from that direction. Really like that play. Looks like the first Reaper now moving across the field here for Ktože. Gonna be poking in at the gold for some reason, maybe? Yeah, I think he's just trying to get a good path all the way around. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing, is he's going to be going just for that ledge. But look at that. DieStar once again going to be knowing exactly what his opponent could possibly be doing. Look at that. Didn't even see the tech lab. Just wants to put his Marines there well positioned in case his opponent goes for Reapers. And look at that. First Reaper gets up into the base, and oh my gosh, it actually manages to stay alive with 2 hit points, and it is going to get cleaned off there. I think it only managed to get 1 worker kill. Yeah, it only managed to get 1 worker kill, so that was definitely not a worthwhile Reaper to get. A second Reaper is now out on the field here for Ktože. Going to be killing off that wolf statue before maybe moving towards his opponent's base. More barracks now being thrown up here by Ktože. Factory just now going up, and it looks like it was a one racks command center here from Ktože now, as he throws down that command center at his natural expansion. Now, we did see again the 1-1-1 from DieStar, so it looks like it is going to be that identical opening that we saw on Game 1. We do see that factory was used to produce a tech lab. Now swapping that starport onto that tech lab, now going to be sending out, whoa, we actually have a caduceus reactor coming down here on this tech lab, which that is the medevac energy upgrade, which that's kind of an unusual upgrade. It's something we don't see very often. Going to be really strange. He must have some kind of a medevac timing that requires having that extra energy. That's actually very odd. I've never actually seen that go down, but I don't know. Interesting. DieStar is going to be doing it. Going to see what he's going to be doing with that shortly. The first Banshee is now out, and how prepared is NocXout to deal with this? I don't think he's that prepared at all. He's got a few Marines here, but not a whole lot. Looks like this Banshee's going to get at least a few kills before it moves away, and now he's trying to do his best to kite these Marines. Kiting is, of course, where you if you have a unit that has a longer attack range than your opponent's, then you can kind of attack and then scoot back. Attack and then scoot back. Attack and scoot back, and hopefully, if you do it well, your opponents will not even be able to get a single shot off. DieStar here picking up quite a few kills, already sitting up at 7 kills right now, going to be able to get one more, 8 kills, and now he's just going to back out of there with that Banshee. I love this from DieStar. I love that he doesn't just commit this Banshee to get in there and die. He moves it in, does whatever damage he can, then just pulls it back, starts to repair it, and then sends it right back out again. There we go, there's the repair now coming down. DieStar now going to be throwing up a second barracks just like in game 1. Throwing up that command center while this Banshee was applying pressure. Absolutely love that from DieStar. Second command center going to be up here very shortly here. In the meantime, he did once again produce that Raven, just in case his opponent might have gone for any Banshees as well, just preparing for that eventuality. We do see a reactor now going down on this starport. No Viking this time for DieStar, but he does have that second barracks coming up. Factory now producing that siege tech, now getting out siege tanks as well. This Banshee going to be poking into the space once again, but NocXout just a little bit more prepared for it this time, only getting a few kills there before having to go back home to get repaired once again. Orbital Command going to be coming down on that natural expansion before taking his expansion. If we check out the Harvester count, looks like DieStar is up by just a smidgen, 32 Harvesters to 30, but NocXout's now mining on 2 bases, so he's going to be doing pretty well in economy, and DieStar holding the Xel'Naga Watchtowers, really like that. Want to aggressively hold that Xel'Naga Watchtower, because if you're going for that Banshee, if you went for that early Banshee and your opponent was just going for heavy barracks count with a big Marine Marauder army, your opponent could potentially have a big ground force right now. So as long as he's going for Banshees, he's going to try to control this Xel'Naga Watchtower and do everything he can to keep that under his control. Now, I love this. Once again, simple timings here from DieStar. Orbital Command finishes, land your Orbital Command, move out with your army, take center map control, maybe even be aggressive with that army, because why? You want to defend this expansion, you want to get this expansion up and running, so you're going to move out and you're going to be aggressive while you take expansions. Really like that from DieStar. Super simple, super clean. Now just going to be operating 2 base on 2 barracks, 1 factory producing siege tanks, and 1 starport now producing medevacs. So it looks like he's going to be waiting here for his first medevacs, and I don't think he didn't actually let that that medevac energy upgrade finish. This medevac would actually have more energy. He didn't actually let that caduceus reactor finish. So it looks like he did actually end up canceling that in favor of getting a faster reactor on that starport after that Banshee didn't do too terribly much damage. Now we do see constantly just producing Marines, and there we go. Now we do have the move out here from DieStar, and it looks like NocXout is preparing here with this missile turret here in position to be able to do damage. And a little bit of miscontrol there from DieStar as he almost loses that Raven, but doesn't quite lose it. He is going to be dropping onto the high ground as he has loaded up this 1 medevac, going to be finishing off that 1 missile turret as he's now going to be loading off, but NocXout's been going for a lot of Viking count, heavy Viking count, and loses kind of a lot of Marines there in that medevac. A little bit carelessly there, and DieStar actually not doing the best control here on this engagement, and I actually really like this from NocXout. Really like the early Vikings. If you're going to be going for siege tank, Marine, medevac, air control is absolutely critical to have, and I really like it when Terran players get up these early medevacs, because it really prevents your opponent from really committing too heavily to Vikings. Once you reveal that you have 2 Vikings or 4 Vikings, if your opponent starts Viking production, you're pretty much showing that you're always going to be ahead in the Viking production count. So they're never going to have full air control as long as you get out those first couple of Vikings first. Then after that, it's just a matter of keeping an eye on your opponent to see if he's starting his own Viking production. If he is, then you keep producing more Vikings and you're just always going to have that air control, and when you have air control, it pretty much means you have siege tank control, because if you have air control, your siege tanks are always going to have slightly longer range than your opponent's siege tanks, with those Vikings giving vision. Now it looks like this natural getting well saturated. DieStar still trying to be very aggressive, and I love this positioning from DieStar as he positions his siege tanks here up on the high ground. and starts to shell from the high ground. This means that his opponent really doesn't have a whole lot of idea of what is going on out there, doesn't have a whole lot of vision here. And oh, he's going to be stimming him with a lot of Marines here, and oh, not so good here move by Ktože. Ktože really forgetting to scan. He did have the energy for a scan too, but you always want to scan up onto high ground before you engage directly onto high ground there. That was not a good choice there by Ktože to just go for that engagement. But look, once again, the siege tank count, DieStar had more siege tanks here at the front, but the fact that Ktože just had that air control meant that he could get up there, get real close to his opponent, and his siege tanks have a range advantage, and that is going to force DieStar to now have to pull back because he doesn't have that air control. But notice while he was putting on that pressure, DieStar going for that fast third, now going to be throwing up 3 more barracks. Actually, there's another barracks coming up here pretty soon, I'm almost positive. No, this is right. No, this is absolutely right. Going to be throwing up 2 more barracks as well as a factory here. So once this expansion gets up and running, throws down 2 more barracks, 1 more factory. Simple, super clean. Oh, there it is. No, there we go. Yeah, 3rd barracks up in the main expansion. And yeah, that's exactly what he is going to be going for. Oh, looks like there is some Vikings landing here in the natural expansion. Those are going to be shooed away rather quickly by these Marines. Nice little bit of stutter step micro there by DieStar as the drop now goes down in the main for Ktože, as Ktože is finally trying to put some pressure back on his opponent here, but DieStar doing a fantastic job of keeping some of his units here on the low ground, some of his units up here on the high ground, so he can constantly be defending against that. And ooh, actually that was a lot of Vikings now just lost to those missile turrets, so not the best control there from Ktože, as now it looks like DieStar has a decent sized lead. If we check out the units lost tab, no, it's actually fairly even right now. Both players have lost just about an even number of army supply, and now, but DieStar is going to be on 3 bases here. Ktože just now gearing up to take his 3rd as he moves out once again, but this force of Marine Marauder is just not looking as strong as the force from DieStar right now, as he does have, I think he's got the siege tank advantage, doesn't he? No, he is actually way down in siege tank count. Holy cow, 3 siege tanks to 7. Ktože got way more siege tanks, and this is actually a well-positioned attack here by Ktože as he spreads out his siege tanks, puts a couple on the high ground, and now DieStar are going to be trying to move forward here, but there's a nice wall of Marines here to give a nice little buffer for these siege tanks, and so many Marines going down from DieStar right now. This is not the best engagement from DieStar that I have seen. There's going to be a Viking landing there on that siege tank, and Ktože actually in a fantastic position, going to be able to pick off this 1 barracks. That 1 barracks I think might go down. Oh, but DieStar is now moving forward with a lot of siege tanks. That double factory now giving him a lot of siege tank production here. You can get him up very quickly, and he's able to clean that up just a bit. Now Ktože looks like he's trying to move out to be aggressive once again, but I think the forces of DieStar are just a little bit too strong right now. That barracks is just going to be repaired back up again, and DieStar now going to be fully saturating here with 2 more refineries and then adding on more barracks. So that's another thing I like about this build, is that it's super flexible. It's really flexible. It allows you to just get down whatever production structures as you need them. As you take expansions, as your resources start to get high, you just start to throw down more barracks or more factories, whichever you need more of. In this case, DieStar is opting to go for a little bit heavier on the Marine count. Looks like he's now even going to start to be going for Marauders because he saw how many siege tanks his opponent had in that last engagement, but ooh, brilliantly placed siege tanks here by Ktože, going to give him control of that middle of the map, and DieStar now going to be forced to pull back on that engagement, now throwing up the sensor tower. Really love that, because why? If you are moving your army up along this path here, then there's a big possibility of counterattacks down here. So you need that sensor tower to know when attacks are coming, and here we actually do have a double drop coming down here from KnoxOut. Main getting a little bit low in the main of DieStar. If there's one thing that DieStar is not focusing on right now, it is upgrades. He's just now throwing down his 2nd engineering bay and his armies. So far, his Marines are only +1 in upgrades. He's now engaging here without siege, just moving straight in right now, trying to break the center of the map. He's going to lose a lot of units here, but he did finally break that center. In the meantime, this drop is now going to be moving into the 3rd base here, and I don't know whether DieStar just didn't see it, but he just did not react to that at all, despite having the sensor tower and being able to see it on the mini-map, and he's now just going to be going for the engagement, I think, as he's going to be loading up a bunch of units into this medevac, loading him up onto the high ground. He does have a siege tank there in that 1 medevac, and he's losing a lot of forces down here, and oh, he's actually engaging with all of his SCVs. I don't know about that choice from DieStar. He's going to lose a lot of Marines carelessly. These Marines are already +1/+1 with +2/+2 currently on the way, or +2 infantry weapons anyway, is on the way, soon to be finishing up here. And DieStar now actually pushing into the main. He said, you know what, if you're going to take my third, I am just going to take all your production structures and really hinder your production. And now Ktože being forced to be defensive, pulling all of his Marines and siege tanks up here into his base, not really able to find a good place to engage here, because anywhere he engages, he's going to have to strain through all of his little buildings here, where these narrow little paths will just decimate, where his Marines will just get decimated from siege tank fire. Looks like he does finally manage to pick off the siege tanks on the high ground. Notice his third is now up and running as well. Looks like the command center did go down for DieStar, but he's just going to be rebuilding that right away. If we check out the workers killed count, we can see Ktože with 41 workers killed there, but looks like DieStar going to continue to be aggressive as he's now moving in with all of his reinforcements. He's got a lot of Marines, lots of siege tanks. The food count is pretty much dead even right now, and DieStar actually going to be moving up to the natural, and oh my goodness, I love this move from DieStar. This is actually a brilliant attack. By applying pressure here, you force your opponent to get defensive around here. Forces your opponent to get lots of siege tanks and Marines up here to be able to defend his main and all his production structures. So DieStar says, you know what, I'm just going to lift up everything, move it here, and now you're trapped in your own base, and to get out of your base, you're going to have to come through this narrow little choke where I have a ton of siege tanks already sieged up and ready to go, and Ktože is now in a ton of trouble as the natural command center falls. So much damage being dealt here as looks like lots and lots of SCVs were pulled off the line there. And now DieStar in an absolutely fantastic position to take this game, shelling all the production structures, continuing to rally more structures in. Ktože trying to find somewhere to drop anywhere he can, but this drop not really finding a good place of entry as there are missile turrets all over the place here for DieStar. And now DieStar just going to be moving in with Marines and siege tanks into the third base. Natural has been taken out. There is not a whole lot of mining going on at the main. Siege tanks going to be focusing down all these units. Nice scan goes down here by Ktože, but now it looks like those siege tanks finally going to be picked off by Ktože, but pretty much all of the mining from Ktože has been cleaned up. If we check out the harvester count, looks like DieStar is up, but only by a little bit, 28 to 22 harvesters right now, but DieStar still in a pretty good spot right now, still shelling a lot of damage at the natural. Looks like Ktože deciding that he's not going to mine anymore at the main, wants to take the natural, but I think these siege tanks and these Marines are going to prevent that from happening. In the meantime, one drop is going down here at the third base. He's going to be able to get that command center, and I think DieStar needs to pull back these Marines. No, he's actually just going to engage with the SCVs. He's feeling very, very confident about his position right now, just going for it right now, trying to take this drop out. There we go. Some Marines do finally get there in time to clean that up, and now DieStar in a good position as the command center falls. Ktože really shouldn't have had that command center out there, and now Ktože actually has no command center and no resources to build another one. So that is actually going to be GG from Ktože as he can no longer mine. He's just going to move out. Once again, he's forced to move through this tiny narrow choke where he's going to take a lot of damage from the forces of DieStar, and it looks like he's now going to be moving around, and DieStar has just been macroing this entire time. Going to move out, siege up properly, and get ready for his opponent, because Ktože can't do anything except use these this push right here. If this push does not work, that is the end of the game for Ktože, and it looks like DieStar is getting well prepared for this with the siege tank on the high ground, Marine on the low ground, and those siege tanks going to be cleaned up real fast since they didn't even get the chance to siege up. DieStar engaging right before they get the chance. Beautiful, beautiful play there by DieStar. So here we go, guys, jumping into Game 3 of DieStar versus KноxOuT from the Go4SC2 Cup, so stick with me. Gonna watch DieStar clean this Game 3 up.